Actually, a good part of my adult life, there was a whole fight of fantasy and reality. And with everything that went on with myself, I always had this feeling I was normal. I was like anybody else. But realised, what I wanted out of life. I wanted to have a family and get married and have kids. And as I sort of grew up, the likes of my leg, things like that, it's hard to sort of have any other sort of relationships other than friends with that. You keep that to yourself. You don't go. And at the time, I met Michelle. So Michelle and I have known each other a decade this year. But we've been together for 7 years. So we actually are quite privileged as well. I think privileged to have had those wonderful years of friendship as well before we were together as well. And on reflection now, I know the day I met this girl, I fell in love with her. And it was the weirdest thing because it was a transitional part of my life where I was struggling with that fantasy and reality. So within my adult life, I knew I wanted the wife and kids, and as time went on, the doubt kicked in, and how will that happen, James? It might not happen. You have to, you have to break down the barriers if that's ever going to happen because of the leg, because of, you have to have that conversation with somebody that you're going to be with. And I never wanted to have it. I never wanted to face that reality. And I had so many friends. I had friends that were girls, I had friends that were, and I was well into my adult life before I met this fantastic girl who walked, the first thing, she came into I'd never forget, she came in to meet me and said, "I heard you've one leg. That's class. Can I see it off? Can you take it off and show me? What's it like? What does that do?" And due to circumstance and due to where I was in my life, it never clicked with me to go, to pursue that girl. I never had that mentality, and I ended up with the most fantastic friend. And circumstance and life changed, and for me, I wake up at the minute, we're 7 years together, and I will wake up in the morning and still think I am now trying to turn my fantasy into reality. I was telling myself it wasn't going to happen. So my fantasy of having children, I was telling myself I'm going to be great Uncle Jamesy to all my nieces and nephews, all my cousins that have kids, all the ones that I've witnessed, all the weddings I've been to, I was now trying to tell myself my reality is going to be, I will be great Uncle Jamesy to all of these people, and that will be my family, because the chances of me standing here today had gone beyond slim for me in my head. And I know. But look, there was one day, and I'll never forget it as well, one of my best friends knew I was obviously struggling with something, and she came to work with me. And I had to meet somebody in Dublin, and we're coming up the road, and I said, "There's this lovely hotel, the Ballymascanlon, we'll call in here." And we called in here, and we sat, and I'll never forget it. It was one of the best days of my life. And I sat in there in the bar of the Ballymascanlon hotel with my best friend, and she said to me, "What's been up with you? What's wrong? And there was really, and again on reflection, you don't realise, she was one of the only comfortable people I was able to say, "Well, I'm just sort of struggling with I'm just buying a house. All my friends are getting married, people are having kids, and I'm just struggling with that reality that it's not going to happen for me, I think." And unbeknown to me, circumstances, things would align, and a couple of months later, and I get a lovely message from my best friend to say, "Well, what if it was me?" And I'm now standing here today So I'm now at the stage of that cliche line and welcoming all of you here. But that cliche line I never thought I would say. And I welcome everybody's applause and everything to welcome you here to say, on behalf of my beautiful wife and I, thank you.